Shabbat Shalom and happy Shushan Purim. It's been a couple of months since I recorded a sermon, and I have changed my background from those previous recordings. Before, I had a Japanese screen that was hiding my bookcase. That was as a result of a professional who staged my room before High Holy Days and said that the bookcase was distracting. She did suggest that I put fresh flowers, which I kept, and she suggested that I took down the sign that says do something you love every day, and I decided I wanted to put that back up because really the books are who I am. I love to read books. I've written a book. I'm writing another book. It's really very much a part of me. And I want where I'm standing and teaching and giving sermons and connecting professionally with people to be a place where I can be as much of my authentic self as I can. I'm also wearing a suit and a prayer shawl, a talit that I normally wear in the synagogue. But putting on the suit, putting on the clothes, makes me feel a part of what I'm doing as well. It's one aspect of my persona. I find that when I see fake backgrounds on the Zoom room, that if somebody's hand or head disappears, that's more distracting to me than any other background that they might have that shows me where they are. In the same sense, though, it's the ultimate observation of the person that I'm engaging with and listening to what they're saying that has more meaning for me, rather than what they're wearing or what their background is. I think that what you wear has the ability to change how you feel. And also the way people may perceive you. This week in Parshat Tetzaveh, which we're reading from Exodus chapter 28, goes into great detail about the Kohanim, the priests in the sanctuary, in the Holy of Holies. And it goes into the hat they wore and the band underneath the hat and the undergarment and the overgarment and the breastplate and the two stones, the umim and the tumim on each shoulder, which help the priests actually to intuit and divine the divine will and to understand who they were interacting with. So the internal was affected very much by the external. And I think that has much to teach us. You know, I'm here at my standing desk in my office, but when I'm talking to my family, I'll be on my laptop in the living room or in the kitchen, and I may not be wearing a suit, probably not. One of the things that I do on my laptop is I watch Facebook Watch at night. And there's someone on there that I follow, Dr. Mike. He is a real doctor. He's a real physician. And he told the story last year about growing up and how people don't see him as a doctor because he's cute and he's young. He's 31 years old. And he's a YouTube sensation. You can find him on YouTube. And this particular episode, he was talking about how he was the president of the Institute for Math and Science at his school, and he had to meet with the principal bi-monthly about this particular institute. And it was the 90s. He was dressed in those kind of jeans that fall off the hips and the hair that falls in the face. And he said when he got to the principal's office, she looked at him and asked him if he was there for a detention. She totally judged him on the way he looked and not on the intelligent young man that he was there to discuss math and science with her. He said that when people see him in the street, people ask, "Are you a real doctor?" because he's a sensation on the YouTube. And he said that he uses that discrimination about the way people perceive him as a way to energize himself, to show them who he really is. I greeted you at the beginning with Happy Shushan Purim. It's the day after the Purim festival, and Shushan Purim is the day that is celebrated in the walled cities in Jerusalem and Tiberias and Hebron in Israel today. Because Shushan, where the Purim story took place in Persia, was a walled city. All the usual customs and laws of Purim apply to Shushan Purim. But when it falls on a Shabbat, as it does this year because Purim is on a Friday, we actually have a phenomenon of celebrating it on Sunday because we can't do all the things that we would do on a Shabbat, because you can't carry gifts or give to the poor on Shabbat. So in those walled cities, it's a 3-day Purim that we are celebrating. My friend and colleague, Rabbi Stacy Friedman of Rodef Shalom, Congregation Rodef Shalom, gave a teaching for the Institute for Jewish Spirituality about Purim and the masks we wear. It's traditional to wear the masks and to wear costumes, and it's a very fun holiday. We have all been wearing masks for the last year. First, Rabbi Friedman described how to put on and off and take off a mask. And it was very interesting when the pandemic broke out. I was in New York, and my friend, who's a doctor in Philadelphia, told me how to put on and off a mask, an N95 that I might want to reuse, by putting my face into a Tupperware and pulling the straps around it, and therefore I wasn't touching the front of my face and touching the germs. But actually, the mask is not so much to protect us as it is to protect the people that we may be coming in contact with through if we're carrying the virus. So Rabbi Stacy described how to take on and off the mask, and she also talked about the hidden and the hidden that's in the Megillah, the book of Esther that we read, that it's a story about being hidden. Esther was hiding who she was, and then she revealed herself, and by revealing herself, she saved her people from destruction by the wicked Haman. So as Rabbi Stacy went into this theme of taking off the mask and how to fold it, the side that faces the world on the inside, if you're going to reuse it, what an interesting metaphor that is. And then she quoted the Baal Shem Tov, who was an 18th century Jewish mystic, and he said, because a mask, Megillat Hester, which means reveals the hidden, the mask reveals the deep inner truth about a person in the very way that it conceals. In our Zoom rooms, we show others really what we want them to see. And we also make connections with others. At the end of her teaching, Rabbi Stacy quoted Dr. Norman J. Cohen from his book, Masking and Unmasking Ourselves. He is a professor emeritus of Hebrew Union College, and he said, taking of the mask, in a deeper way, this Jewish carnival experience allows us to challenge the inevitability of things as they are, inherited identities and fates, and in so doing, Purim provides us with the hope that the garments we put on that seem only to mask our present realities can reveal the deep seated consciousness of our potential for change, our ability to bring happiness and fulfillment to our lives and the lives of others. I know that when I put on my costume for Purim and I'm wearing a jester's hat, there's a sense of being fun and lively. When I put on an old suit that might be too tight, there's a sense of, oh, I'm not this person anymore. So both the masks we wear and the clothes we wear, just like the Kohanim elevated them to holiness, those are indicative of really bringing what we might like to be to the fore. The pandemic began on Purim last year, and this year we might ask ourselves, who are we now that this year has passed, and who will we be when we take off our masks? Shabbat Shalom and happy Shushan Purim.